The arrival of the behemoth. For centuries, humanity has gazed at the stars with ambition, dreaming of exploration, expansion, and conquest. But what happens when the dreamers become the invaders? Imagine a distant alien world, peaceful, thriving, untouched by the chaos of war. Then, on the horizon, a massive warship appears. It is not of their world. It is not of their making. It is human. In the vast cosmic void, where civilizations rise and fall, the arrival of a foreign warship signals an event of cataclysmic proportions. Is it a messenger of peace, a harbinger of war, or something far more complex? The mere presence of a human warship in an alien system would send shockwaves through the local civilization. Questions of intent, survival, and strategy would dominate every discussion. To understand the gravity of such an event, we must delve into the very essence of human military expansion, the technology that fuels it, and the consequences it could unleash on any alien world unfortunate enough to find itself in humanity's path. Humanity's military evolution in space. Throughout history, human warfare has evolved in direct proportion to its technological advancements. From spears to nuclear weapons, each era of humanity has been defined by its ability to wield increasingly destructive power. Space is merely the next frontier. The development of orbital warfare, autonomous combat systems, and interstellar fleets is not a matter of science fiction. It is an inevitability. Governments and private corporations are already investing billions into space militarization. The United States, China, and Russia have all openly declared space as the next strategic battleground. Organizations like the U.S., Space Force, and China's PLA Strategic Support Force are actively researching orbital defense systems, kinetic bombardment weapons, and next-generation warships. The logical conclusion? Humanity will not enter space as peaceful explorers, but as conquerors armed to the teeth. Consider the concept of a human warship. What would it look like? Unlike the sleek, agile spacecraft of science fiction, real interstellar warships would be colossal, heavily armored, and designed for brutal efficiency. The most realistic design would likely resemble a massive, heavily shielded weapons platform, outfitted with railguns and coil guns. These electromagnetic weapons would fire projectiles at hypersonic speeds, capable of tearing through enemy ships and planetary defenses. Directed energy weapons, high-powered lasers and particle beams could be used to disable enemy ships, fry electronics, or carve through enemy forces on the ground. Kinetic bombardment systems, also known as rods from God, these tungsten projectiles dropped from orbit, could strike with the force of nuclear explosions without radioactive fallout. AI-controlled defense systems, automated drones, and machine learning combat algorithms would make human response times irrelevant in battle. With such firepower, a single human warship could subjugate an entire planet. But that leads us to a disturbing question. If we are capable of such destruction, how will alien civilizations react? Alien reactions: fear, diplomacy, or war. Imagine an advanced alien civilization, one that has flourished for millennia without ever encountering an existential threat. Their technological advancements may far exceed ours, but warfare may not be part of their history. To them, the sudden appearance of a human warship, bristling with weapons, its intentions unknown, would trigger either diplomatic urgency or existential panic. Their response would depend on several factors. Technological disparity. If they are more advanced, they may see us as primitive, yet unpredictable. If they are less advanced, they may view us as invincible gods or monsters. Cultural perception of war. A civilization unfamiliar with war may react with curiosity, confusion, or immediate surrender. A warlike civilization, however, would likely see the warship as an act of aggression and respond with force. Strategic positioning. If the planet has interstellar allies, they may call for reinforcements, leading to a potential full-scale interstellar war. If they are isolated, they might resort to desperate defensive measures or even mass evacuation. This scenario also raises an interesting dilemma. Would humans attack first or wait for alien provocation? Throughout history, human nations have engaged in preemptive strikes under the guise of self-defense. Would the same principle apply in space? Would the crew of a human warship assume hostility and strike before the aliens had a chance to retaliate? Or would they try diplomacy first? The problem is, diplomacy often fails when cultures, languages, and priorities are drastically different. The margin for error would be razor thin. A simple miscommunication, a wrongly interpreted gesture, a misunderstanding of territorial boundaries, or an accidental system scan could ignite a war that neither side wanted. The psychology of the invaders. Human mindset in space warfare. Beyond technology and strategy, we must examine an even deeper, more unsettling aspect: the human mindset. Humanity has always struggled with tribalism, resource competition, and territorial aggression. Even in modern times, wars are fought over land, oil, water, and power. If history has taught us anything, it is that scarcity breeds conflict. In space, the stakes are exponentially higher. Interstellar travel would require vast amounts of resources: fuel, rare minerals, water, habitable planets. Any alien civilization occupying a resource-rich world might find itself in an impossible situation. If diplomacy failed, their only choices would be surrender or annihilation. And what of the human soldiers aboard the warship? Would they be explorers, eager to make first contact? Or hardened warriors, trained to see every unknown species as a potential threat? Psychological conditioning would play a huge role. Military doctrine, propaganda, and the stress of deep space travel could push human crews into fear-driven aggression. But there's also another, far darker possibility. What if the warship isn't acting under orders? What if it's a rogue, faction, a breakaway human colony, or a mercenary group operating outside Earth's jurisdiction? The idea of independent warships roaming the galaxy, enforcing their own agendas, is a terrifying prospect. As history has shown, power in the wrong hands often leads to atrocities. If a human warship fell into the hands of extremists, warlords, or rogue nations, the destruction it could unleash on alien civilizations would be limitless. What comes next? A human warship arriving unannounced in alien territory is a scenario that could unfold in countless ways. It could lead to diplomacy, trade, war, or extermination. But one thing is certain: the universe will never be the same again. Would humanity rise as conquerors? Or would we find ourselves outmatched by civilizations, older, wiser, and far more powerful than us? In the next section, we will explore potential alien countermeasures, intergalactic war strategies, and the terrifying possibility of preemptive alien strikes against Earth. Alien countermeasures. Preparing for a human invasion if an advanced alien civilization detected a human warship entering their system. Their response would depend on how well prepared they were for interstellar threats. Some civilizations might rely on diplomacy or attempt peaceful negotiations, but others, especially those with a history of conflict, would prepare for war. Throughout Earth's history, defensive warfare has always followed a clear pattern: detect the threat, assess its capabilities, and neutralize it before it can cause harm. If aliens have encountered hostile forces before, they would likely have already developed countermeasures against intruders. The question is, how effective would these be against a human warship? Early detection and preemptive strikes. The first step in any defensive strategy is early warning systems. The moment an alien civilization detected a human warship approaching, they would attempt to identify its propulsion system. Does it use ion drives, fusion thrusters, antimatter propulsion? Knowing this would allow them to predict its movement and energy output. Analyze its weaponry. By scanning for energy fluctuations or unusual heat signatures, they could estimate the ship's offensive potential. Determine its communication signals. If humans used radio, laser-based transmissions, or quantum entanglement communication, the aliens might try to intercept or jam transmissions to disrupt coordination. If the warship was deemed a threat, the aliens might opt for a preemptive strike. This could take the form of long-range kinetic bombardment. If they had access to asteroid railguns or high-speed projectiles, they could attempt to destroy the warship before it reached their atmosphere. Electromagnetic disruption. If the aliens had advanced electromagnetic pulse, EMP weapons, they could attempt to disable the warship's electronics before a fight even began. Cyber warfare. Assuming the warship relied on AI-assisted control systems, a sufficiently advanced Alien race might attempt to hack its navigation or weapon systems, turning it against its own crew. However, these strategies depend on whether the aliens have encountered war before. A civilization unaccustomed to warfare might hesitate, allowing the human warship to seize the advantage. Planetary defenses, shields, artillery, and hidden weapons. If the human warship survived the initial response and advanced toward an inhabited planet, the aliens would need to deploy defensive measures immediately. Some possible planetary defenses include orbital defense platforms, space stations equipped with high-powered laser cannons, railguns, or missile systems could provide a first line of defense. Energy shields. While speculative, some advanced civilizations may have developed plasma or electromagnetic shields to deflect incoming projectiles or energy weapons. Cloaked weapon systems. If they had stealth technology, the aliens could hide automated defense drones across their solar system, waiting to ambush the human warship. Gravity-based defenses. An extremely advanced civilization might be able to manipulate gravity itself, creating gravitational distortions, to pull the warship into an inescapable trap. But even with strong defenses, one major question remains. Would they have the will to fight? Many alien civilizations, especially those without a war-driven history, might lack the psychological resilience to withstand a direct assault. Psychological warfare. The mind is the first battlefield. Humans have always used psychological warfare to break enemies before a single shot is fired. Would aliens do the same? Or, more disturbingly, would they turn psychological warfare against us? If the aliens understood human psychology, they could use tactics such as mind control technology. If they had advanced neuroscience, they could attempt to manipulate human emotions, induce fear, or even control the warship's crew remotely. Illusions and misdirection. What if they could create false sensor readings or holographic projections, making the humans believe they were vastly outnumbered? Diplomatic manipulation. Instead of fighting, they might deceive the humans into thinking they were allies, only to betray them at the last moment. Conversely, human forces could also use psychological pressure on the aliens. If the warship broadcast recorded battles of human wars, nuclear detonations, and planetary destruction, it might be enough to terrify the aliens into surrender. Advanced alien weapons. Could humanity be outmatched? If an alien civilization had achieved interstellar travel long before humanity, they might possess weapons beyond human comprehension. Some theoretical superweapons they could deploy include antimatter bombs. Unlike nuclear bombs, which rely on fission or fusion, antimatter weapons could release pure energy, wiping out entire fleets in an instant. Black hole generators. If they mastered gravity manipulation, they might create miniature black holes to consume enemy ships. Dimensional weapons. Some theories suggest that advanced civilizations could use higher dimensional physics to erase enemies from existence. In such a scenario, humanity's warship would stand no chance. Even the most advanced human technology might be utterly useless against a civilization millions of years ahead of us. The risk of retaliation. What happens if Earth becomes a target? If the alien civilization successfully repelled the human warship, there's a chilling possibility. They might decide humanity itself is too dangerous to exist. Historically, Earth's civilizations have rarely tolerated hostile outsiders. If an enemy invades, we don't just repel them, we strike back. Aliens might follow the same logic. If they saw humanity as a growing threat, they could send a fleet to Earth. A counter-invasion might not just target the warship, it could target our entire solar system, deploy bioweapons or nanotech warfare. Instead of open war, they could unleash a planetary virus or self-replicating nanomachines to wipe out Earth's population. Quarantine or destroy Earth. Some civilizations may choose to trap humanity within our solar system, or in the worst-case scenario, annihilate us before we expand further. This raises an even deeper question. By sending out warships, are we unknowingly signing our own extinction warrant? What comes next? If humanity's first true encounter with aliens is through war, the consequences could be catastrophic. But what if this is just the beginning? What if multiple factions, both human and alien, become entangled in a growing intergalactic conflict? In the next section, we will explore the possibilities of interstellar war, alliances, and the terrifying prospect of a full-scale cosmic battlefield where humanity is just one of many players. The expanding war. Humanity versus the galactic powers. If a human warship engages an alien civilization, the battle wouldn't stay isolated for long. The moment a single conflict begins, the entire galaxy could take notice. Humanity might soon find itself embroiled in an interstellar war far larger than it ever anticipated. Would Earth be able to survive? Or would our species be crushed before we even have a chance to understand the scope of galactic politics? Galactic powers. Who controls the stars? Before humanity ever fired a shot, it's likely that the galaxy was already divided among various factions, empires, or federations. Just as Earth has seen nations rise and fall, space could be home to rival civilizations, political alliances, and warring species. Some possible power structures include the ancient overlords. If the galaxy is old, there may be an ancient empire that has ruled for millions of years, enforcing strict laws over younger species. The rising warlords. Some civilizations may have recently developed interstellar travel and are now expanding aggressively, conquering new worlds. The hidden observers. A civilization might have already noticed humanity and studied us from the shadows, waiting to see if we are a threat or an ally. The fractured federations. Instead of one ruling power, the galaxy might be divided between competing alliances, each with its own interests. The moment a human warship engages an alien species, these galactic powers would have to decide how to respond. Would they see Earth as a new force to be reckoned with, or an upstart species that must be contained? 2. First contact. Second war. Humanity's strategic dilemma. If Earth's warship won its first battle, humanity might feel emboldened, but would that be a mistake? Defeating one alien species wouldn't make us rulers of the stars. Instead, it would draw attention from much stronger civilizations. Humanity would then face an impossible choice. Expand aggressively. Earth could try to seize resources, establish colonies, and build an empire. But this would invite open war with older civilizations, seek alliances. If other species were also wary of the dominant galactic powers, humanity might join a rebel faction to gain protection. Stay hidden. Instead of expanding, Earth might retreat, concealing itself to avoid detection from more powerful species. Surrender and integrate. The safest option might be to join an existing empire, giving up some sovereignty in exchange for survival. Each option carries massive risks. If Earth expanded too aggressively, it could become a target for annihilation. If it sought allies, it might be dragged into wars beyond its control. If it stayed hidden, it might be seen as cowardly and weak. Would humanity unite in the face of such a cosmic challenge? Or would our own divisions and rivalries lead to internal conflict over what to do next? The reality of interstellar warfare. If war became inevitable, what would interstellar combat look like? Would battles be fought like naval engagements on Earth? Or would war in space be something far more terrifying? Some key factors in an interstellar war include the speed of engagements. Space battles might not be slow, strategic affairs like naval conflicts. Instead, they could happen at relativistic speeds, with ships destroying each other in seconds. The importance of intelligence. Knowing where your enemy is and what they are planning is even more crucial in space. A species with better sensor, technology, cloaking systems, or quantum communication could dominate the battlefield. The role of AI and automation. Human pilots might not stand a chance in deep space warfare. Instead, AI-controlled fleets could wage wars that are fought and won before humans even understand what happened. The threat of exterminatus. Some wars might not be fought over territory, but over total destruction. If a civilization deemed humanity too dangerous, they wouldn't fight us on the battlefield. They'd obliterate Earth from orbit. Would Earth be ready for this kind of warfare? Or would humanity's first war in space also be its last? 4. The ultimate weapon. Earth's last stand. If humanity was pushed to the brink of extinction, it might resort to desperate measures. History has shown that when survival is at stake, nations and entire civilizations become willing to do the unthinkable. Earth's last stand could involve planetary defense systems. Humanity might turn Earth into a fortress, installing massive orbital railguns, missile silos, and shield generators to repel invaders. Doomsday weapons. If humanity had access to antimatter bombs, neutron weapons, or black hole generators, it might be forced to use them as a last resort scorched Earth tactics. If defeat seemed inevitable, humanity might decide that no one should win. They could destroy key resources, leave traps for invaders, or even detonate the sun in a desperate act of defiance. The final exodus. If Earth was lost, the last remnants of humanity might flee, searching for a new home among the stars. Would humans go down fighting to the last soldier? Or would they retreat, waiting for the chance to strike back from the shadows? 5. A galaxy forever changed. No matter how the war played out, one thing is certain. The galaxy would never be the same again. If humanity won, it might become a new rising power, feared and respected across the stars. If humanity lost, its legacy might fade into myth, remembered only as a cautionary tale for other species. If war continued, the conflict could escalate beyond anyone's control, plunging the galaxy into centuries of destruction. But perhaps the most important question isn't who wins or loses. Instead, it's this: is war even necessary? Could there be another path? A way for civilizations to coexist without violence? Or is conflict an unavoidable consequence of intelligent life? What happens next? War is often seen as the ultimate test of a civilization's strength. But in reality, it is often a test of its wisdom. The fate of humanity in the stars depends not just on its weapons, but on its ability to choose the right battles and avoid the wrong ones. But is it too late? Is humanity already on a collision course with galactic war? Only time will tell.